And we begin tonight with the waning moments of the 2022 legislative session.
So lawmakers now have less than 2 hours until the session ends. And the legislature came into today with several important issues still undecided, including two that Denver 7 has tracked extensively: the fentanyl crisis and the sharp rise in catalytic converter thefts.
Denver 7's Colette Bordelon is live at the State House tonight, where lawmakers are up against the clock. Colette?
It's lasting late into the night tonight, late into the session. Lawmakers still here in the Capitol right now. They're tired, but they are here in this final push. Now, the Senate just an hour ago passed that fentanyl legislation surrounding fentanyl possession within the state. The House right now just behind me, they're talking about it. That vote expected to be coming here very soon, so we'll know if that bill becomes law by the end of tonight. Now, the legislation changes the punishment for the possession of the dangerous synthetic opioid, making anywhere from 1 to 4 grams a felony. Tonight, lawmakers from both the House and Senate met to reconcile their biggest differences about the legislation. That really came down to criminal intent behind possession. The new language that was approved tonight says if a defendant can prove to a jury they didn't know the substance they had contained fentanyl, then the felony charge could be dropped to a misdemeanor. Those who voted no say this change will just make all of the cases going forward misdemeanors, arguing everyone would claim they didn't know there was fentanyl in the substance. The new language of the legislation also ensures medication-assisted treatment for anyone going to jail who needs it.
What we're saying is that if you do come in contact with that fentanyl unknowingly, that you're not a felon. And that's so very important. We heard story after story after story of people who died from accidental or unknowing fentanyl poisonings. They should not be wrapped up in this.
And it's either I want to get this drug off my streets, or the others say, well, we want to just learn to live with it. I don't want to learn to live with this drug killing kids.
Another issue we've been following closely this session is catalytic converters and how to stop people from stealing them. Now, there are two pieces of legislation I want to talk about. One of them, a Senate bill that was just passed here tonight. That one would require every owner of places like salvage yards to keep track of such transactions. Now, a House bill on the same topic had already been passed before tonight. It would mean that the Colorado State Patrol needs to check in on the compliance of such businesses with reports on those transactions. It also creates a grant program which would be designed at public awareness campaigns. But some members of the House told me they think that bill took too long to pass.
We know that this is a problem that has been going on in Colorado, and it's only gotten worse. And then it sat on the calendar forever. I don't know why that was, because there were good amendments that were put on that bill that really made it something that a lot of us could agree with. Unfortunately, it took some time sitting on the calendar, which was a frustrating point.
In terms of when it gets put into law and when it gets implemented, there is no difference.
Now, lawmakers still here in the Capitol tonight. We only have around 2 hours left in this session of this year. I asked parties on both of the sides, obviously, how they felt about their wins, their losses. They both have those. But when you ask either side about how they feel about this session, they're proud of the work they've done here this year. I'm going to head back into the chambers right now of the House to see if they pass that fentanyl legislation. Live at the Capitol, Colette Bordelon, Denver 7.